Millennium starting on defense. So let's head into the game right here as we take a look at the operator selections.
Yeah, so unKnights attack, Millennium on defense, just like you said. Garage going to be our first defended site here from Millennium, and as we say every time when we go to Consulate, the great thing about Consulate is that we likely will see all three of the bomb sites played because they are all perfectly viable. We'll see what these two teams choose to bring us to, though. And just to start things off here, a castle coming out for Millennium. Now, we've seen a lot of castle play on Consulate basement defense as of late, specifically centered around where you see him right now in that west corridor and around the bathroom. Interesting the way that teams have been choosing to play the bathroom. We've seen sometimes a mirror window placed in there facing towards piano. And just in general, it's a strategy to delay as much as possible before the attackers can establish themselves above the bomb site. And get that vertical pressure, because as some of you may know, this entire floor in this piano room is breachable, and the pressure is extremely easy to apply.
There's still one more camera Stizzy's going to be thrown on out here, and I believe it's probably going to go up through the skylight of yellow stairs. Possibly, we'll have to take a look. Or it could just be a delayed throw out for later on. Now that's actually a typically good camera there from the Valkyrie. We don't necessarily see that corner taken advantage of. We see a toss up in the tree on a light pole.
Yeah, and Consulate's one of those maps that begs or like really reinforces the argument to bringing IQ.
Yep.
On Consulate, there are so many little places outside the building to hide those Valkyrie cameras that may not be very typical, and IQ basically negates all of that. So that's why we have seen her more often than not, or not more often than not, actually quite frequently though, on Consulate. However, we're not seeing her from unKnights to start things off here.
Yeah, and we had talked earlier about how if we're going to rotate an attack operator off, it's most likely going to be that Ash to bring on a buck to complement Sledge. In this scenario, with the bomb site being downstairs, you're likely to rotate off that Thatcher, which we're seeing do, just so they can open up that piano, because you don't need that Thatcher.
Now, it's somewhat, you don't need the Thatcher if you're not going to go for the garage wall.
Correct.
If you have the thermite, you're going to go for that garage wall, you absolutely do. But in this instance, we're seeing unKnights actually not do that. They're looking like they're setting themselves up for a back hall take coming from the server from the east side of the building. Just first to start us off, though, they're taking control over the rest of the building, trying to establish dominance on that roam game so they don't have to worry too much about the flank later into the round. But with half of the round already gone, they need to start dealing with the Valkyrie playing inside the bathroom and the castle in piano.
Now, Voy is here inside of the reception area, which he has the castle barricade to his side, so that's actually helping him, not helping the defenders. He just now needs to focus on this drop hatch and on the center corridor.
Yeah, Renshiro's likely to see that laser sight on the floor right in front of him. Oh no, he might not. The computer actually blocking his vision. He will not know that Voy is looking directly at him. This engagement on the drop down is going to be very important moving forward in the round as to who comes out on top as a whole.
Now, I like that unKnights is focusing themselves here on servers and on the kitchen push. It looks like that's where they will be adjusting and moving towards. But I think Millennium is trying to force them into this.
Yeah, it's not often we see a backhaul server locker hallway take actually come out successful for the attackers. It usually ends up being a defender win because you're basically shoving yourself through two little doorways.
Yogurt's going to feel a couple bullets there from Spoken. C4's going to come out from Renshiro, though, and then we have Liven finishing off Spoken with the headshot there. That's going to be a 3-on-5, 15 seconds left to go. Voi's going to toss one nade in, might finish off Yogurt. Will hurt him, but not down him. Renshiro's going to be shotgun to the side, but not enough damage to down him, and Liven picks up a kill as Jock will take out Liven. Downs Yogurt. Last man alive is going to be Stizzy up against it. It looks like defenders will win here on round number 1. Now the diffuser has not been planted.
Good round there, good defense from Millennium, but honestly, you gotta kind of point the finger at unKnights for that particular round, as again, we've seen this before. Every time a team tries to attack the basement on Consulate from that locker hallway, it usually goes to the defenders, and the reason is, very simply, because you are shoving your entire team through two hallways. Now, in this instance, we did see unKnights utilize that main drop down in the lobby, but unfortunately, it was not enough to mix up the results. And because of that, Millennium will come out on top with their first round and the first round of this series on the board. unKnights, meanwhile, they are going to defend the basement similarly to Millennium. they are actually going to be bringing a Mute to the field. Now we've talked about this before, Mute is seeing a lot more play as of late. And specifically on Consulate, I think he finds a lot of use in that you can try and delay just even more for your roam game and stall out that round.
Now, they look like they've opted to bring, like you said, that Mute, but they rotated it up for the Jaeger, which hasn't necessarily been the most common rotation.
No, definitely not. Jaeger is obviously one of, I think in Europe, the most played operator we just noticed earlier on defense. So having him rotated out is kind of a bit of a ballsy move, let's say, for unKnights. I mean, he does bring one of the best guns on defense. A lot of recoil, arguably, but also very, very good damage rate of fire. You got an ACOG, so you've got versatility, you got options there. You got those ADS to stop the grenades, the barbed wire, and then he's a 3-speed to top it off. Jaeger is a very good operator. Renshiro going to start us off with a kill on Dispo. That's a good initial pick there for Renshiro. Onto the Castle, who is likely putting down his barricades outside a bathroom.
He was the defender supposed to stay inside a bathroom, I think, to hold it down.
Yeah.
But like you said, put down his barricades. He actually bit the bullet there, bit the dust, and now that's going to force one other defender to try to take that position, or they're just going to give it up. Yeah,
you do actually see an IQ on Millenium as well, and this is what we were talking about earlier, how IQ on Consulate is especially useful. Voy being on that Valkyrie is likely to get all of his cameras taken out before they're able to be made useful at all.
We've seen kind of the countermeasure to that is a Valkyrie will then wait 20, 30, sometimes 40 seconds into the round to then throw a camera out in a more typical spot once IQ has, quote-unquote, cleared that tree or cleared that location outside of the map.
Yeah. Millenium doing the same as unKnights did last round, clearing out the roam game, trying to establish as much control over the top 2 floors before positioning themselves to attack into the bomb site itself. Although, again, same as unKnights, they are not going to clear all the way to the west side of the first floor as they're worried about this roam game coming out from the Valkyrie in the bathroom and the Mute at the top of spiral stairs.
This seems like a very, I want to say different sort of way we've been seeing this attack happen. It's just the fact that it's always going very slow. I mean, 1 minute and no one's seen each other for the most part. I mean, yes, Spoken's been taken out. As I say that, Falco's going to snag a kill there on a Jock. Yogurts took a little bit of damage, but again, this seems to be progressing slowly as an attacking strat.
Yeah, both of these teams as well, completely ignoring the garage, not bringing a Thermite or a Thatcher on this basement attack. Instead opting to go for this locker hallway take, and in this instance, Millenium has such a man advantage, it actually might work out for them. However, they are still struggling. With only 34 seconds to go, they still have to deal with 3 remaining defenders.
And 1 gas grenade is going to be left in the hands of Smoke over here. Hicks going to go for a pick. He snags 1, then gets traded out. The gas grenade is going to force Renshiro to push in forward. However, Liven and Stizzy will finish off the remaining 3 defenders. We will have a successful server push into the kitchen.
So the main difference there between Millenium's take and unKnights' take that allowed Millenium to put themselves now at 2-0 against unKnights on Consulate is that they got the initial pick on the Castle, which opened up a lot of room to breathe when it came to pushing into that bathroom and piano as they were clearing out the roam game. They only had to deal with 1 Valkyrie, who I believe defaulted back to the site. And then after they took control over the bathroom, they opened up the drop and actually utilized it in their take, which we did not see unKnights do previously. So, undisputed man advantage, coupled with the fact that they actually utilized that drop in the bathroom that is above the main garage, which allowed them to win that round in that take. And again, this take is a little bit unconventional, not what we're used to seeing. More often than not, the attackers will position themselves outside the garage when attacking the basement, try to thermite that wall open, and get the defuse plant in front of white van or black car with the cover of possibly smoke. I like the way that both of these teams are trying to handle this attack, though. I think it's working best for Millenium. unKnights need to be able to clear out that full roam game before they make the push next time.
Agreed with that aspect of it, as well as I believe unKnights is just not winning their gunfights. They're just not winning their gun battles. If we take a quick look at the scoreboard, we see, I believe that was Liven and Renshiro at the top 4-3, and Jacques got 2 kills his first round. Hicks only got 1 kill last round. They're not winning their gunfights.
Yeah, that is an important factor. Like that camera there coming out from Millenium, but it will be taken out from unKnights. good eyesight there. As they do not have an IQ, it's going to have to be manual clearing of the Valkyrie drones exclusively. We are seeing the first floor defended rather than the top floor. Now, this is pretty abnormal. Normally, in the most situations, we'll have a professional team defend the basement and the top floor, but in this instance, Millenium has gone for that first floor. Now, again, we've talked about it. Every time we go to Consulate, every floor is defensible. So, while it is different, it is completely reasonable.
Yeah, and with this type of defense, we are going to see a 4-1 split. Although, like we said, bomb sites on the main floor, we are going to have 4 members from Millenium on the top side. And Yogurts, looks like he might have already seen a little bit of a firefight here. Going up against Voy on the platform, and it looks as though Voy already had his number tagged right down to the headshot there. First kill of the round will go on to Yogurts.
And you can see here, unKnights just trying to clear from top to bottom in order to establish that top-down control onto the main site itself. Millenium, meanwhile, invested very heavily in that top floor. They really want to hold it down and deny that top control. This is a pretty standard way to play out this particular bomb site defense and attack.
Now, Voy still here on the platform outside of what would be the A site on the top floor.
Yeah, Voy has a ton of control, basically cutting through half of Consulate with this angle. On the top floor, that is.
Now, a bit of a crossfire that Chaos is going to be in. He's got the Valkyrie in corner office. He also has Liven, who's the bandit, inside of the middle corridor here by the reception area. With that, Liven gets droned out. He's going to force his way back downstairs to regroup with Falco because there are only 45 seconds. Now, Liven got a call. He actually popped out, got hit with that shot. And that's going to be the first man down for unKnights. Jacques has also taken quite a bit of damage here on the yellow stairs. Spoken moving his way into Visa. Now we're going to be witnessing Voy get off of the platform, head on over because they need to make a push. Spoken picks up that 1 kill there onto Mira. It's going to be Renshiro. Falco will also find a couple bullets, will not be tagged down. Spoken moves on over, gets the pistol kill. No, he misses it. Liven snags a double as Stizzy also gets one on the Voy. Last man alive is going to be Spoken. With 1 bullet in the chamber, we will have Liven win that battle engagement. We will have round number 3 go to Millenium.
Good defense there from Millenium. I feel like a little bit of a non-committal on the top floor, though, from unKnights. They seemingly had the control they needed, but they did not just kind of take into the top and then, hey, let's open up top down. I mean, that vertical presence really wasn't there. Instead, they opted to purely engage right into Millenium and go for the fisticuffs. And Millenium, as I talked about at the beginning before the match even started, is going to win in the fisticuff battle. When it comes just down to the pure fight power, prowess, Millenium's got the edge there.
Now,
unKnights needs to be showing us some little nuanced strategy that they've shown to us before to get these round wins.
And on that topic, we are going to see the same strategy they pulled out last week, bringing the recruit, and it's not bringing out the Valkyrie. We talked about this before, trying to get that barbed wire as well as the C4 to play underneath. Now, I guarantee you, Millenium went back to the VOD, saw this, and I'm going to guarantee that they have a counter for it.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that Millenium's going to be prepared for this. I'm curious to see what the recruit loadout is, though, because I did see a shotgun. Yeah, we are going to have C4 barbed wire, but instead of the MP7, we're having the M59 and the SMG-11. That shotgun and secondary are widely considered to be the best of their kind. The shotgun by professionals is that one. The M59 is considered to be the best. I think it's got one of the most consistent spreads out there. The SMG-11 obviously is the best secondary in the game, I think by far and away. Some people actually think, I think there's a bit of a discussion there between the Bearing 9 and the SMG-11 though.
I love the USP. Just saying.
I mean, okay, all right.
Might not be the best, but I love me some USP.
We are seeing a heavy presence by unKnights, a little bit of a variation from what they did in the past. More heavily vested downstairs with that castle barricade. That's going to allow unKnights to more safely roam in the piano and utilize that C4. Also, equally, I do not think that the Pulse is playing by piano. He is, in fact, playing all the way over in servers, which means the heartbeat detection will not come out from unKnights.
Yeah, Renshira's still going to be up here on that balcony wall. Typically, I mean, in the past, we've called that the Pengu balcony, the Pengu rappel.
Well, he's not the first person to do that,
but
he's done some really great things from that balcony. The A balcony is extremely useful, as we talked about last round, because if you can get the angle onto connector, you can basically cut off a huge portion of the rotation for the defenders, which locks up the defense for unKnights.
Now Yogurt is going to get into engagement with Spoken, but misses his target. He went for the crouch shot. Spoken stood up, tagged one onto the head of Yogurt. Spoken took a little bit of damage, not enough that he's going to whimper away. He's going to stay right there by the bathrooms and wait for another push. Stizzy might be trying to peek in forwards towards that bomb site of A.
If we have Pulse rotate underneath the A bomb site, Stizzy's going to have to be careful when he goes for this plan.
Spoken looks like he wants to rotate out from bathroom into the top of yellow stairs. Now Stizzy is going to go here for the plant. He's got the cover of Blackbeard on connector. Live and looking from underneath, making sure that there's not going to be someone throwing C4. However, there is Voy. He's going to not look up in time, and Liven will tag him down. Spoken as well. Going to get another kill from that bathroom corridor. Now he's moving on forward towards the connector, where Chaos just took out Stizzy. Now you do have Jaeger, that's Chaoxy. He's going to move in, looking for the shots. Blackbeard, that's Renshiro, still out on that balcony. He still has full control over this middle site. Falco with that sledgehammer, he's covering the flank on the Visa stairs inside of the Visa office. He picks off one kill into Jacques. Last two alive, gonna be Spoken and Chaos. Chaos will go Falco. I'm sorry, that is gonna be Falco tagging down one. Renshiro tagging off the other. Spoken and Chaos will both go down.
Spoken's really been putting in work for his team, but unfortunately now a 4-0 Millenium looks like they're gonna walk away with Consulate. Match point, and how quick has it been? Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the fastest maps we've seen in the Pro League this season. I mean, we've seen some pretty fast maps, but this is up there.
We've seen some pretty fast maps, but not on a map as, we'll call it...
balanced?
Balanced, yeah. As balanced as Consulate. Consulate is a map just like we've seen with Border, with other maps where you have a lot of versatility, but a lot of balance. We've seen most of those, even going against a team that might be better than you, you're still able to snag a round or two.
Yeah, and I think it really just comes down to Millenium. They're doing the very basic strategy, not huge alterations from what we're used to seeing. Of course, apart from your basement attack, both of these teams doing completely different things on their basement attacks, coming from those locker hallways instead of from the main garage. But apart from that, Millenium's doing some pretty basic stuff when it comes to the top floor attack, and overall their defenses, it's not that big of a surprise. And I think they're just straight up winning out on the gunfights, winning out on those slugfests like you were talking about earlier. unKnights just not really showing us anything especially creative like we've seen from them do in the past. And it's unfortunate because it might be a case that unKnights showed all their cards previously in the Pro League season. There's only so much you can come up with in a season. And this is the most important match of the Pro League so far for these two teams. So if they don't have anything new to show us, it might be really bad for their best of three here. However, it could just be that they don't have anything specific on Consulate.
I think it is, I think you bring up a good point about showing your cards early and early on in the season. unKnights, they showed us this recruit strategy last weekend during Playday 4, or basically their second series. And that's kind of the risk of showing your hand too early, making sure that you can get to this point. Because it's that risk of, are you going to show your cards? Are you going to be the best that you can be to get here and then not have anything left? Or are you going to hold back and hopefully you can outwin your opponents?
Yeah. And that's why the philosophy of Penta and now we see Millenium seems like this. Just, hey, instead of working up these intricate strategies, investing so much time in it, let's just work on our fundamentals and mid-game adaptation. Because we understand how the game works, we don't have to have pre-planned strat. Let's just do what we know we need to do. And it's working really well for Millenium right now.
Ooh, Renshiro tries to go for a drop shot peek around the doorway, and that's going to be the smoke. I'm sorry, the sledge that's already there ready for the kill. Falco will be taken out of commission. Now it looks as though we're going to have a 4-on-3. unKnights taking control of that admin and printer copy room. Yogurt, however, will answer with his own kill onto Spoken. Now there are 2 members from Millenium, 2 of the remaining 3 inside of that A site. Jacques going to be trying to hold down the main corridor as Hicks rotates around and gets over towards the printer room to join Sledge. Stiz is also going to be droned out and spotted inside of that corner office. Connector will have Yogurts, and now Jacques going to go on the move. He's looking over towards bathroom. He knows that no one's in there, ready to drone it out. However, Yogurts has managed to get behind the desk, and I don't think Jacques will pre-fire it. That's going to spook him enough for Yogurts to get on up there and finish off Jacques. Now he's looking over, will almost spot Hicks. Hicks has the drop shot down onto him, but misses the target. Yogurts gets another kill. Last but not least is going to be Chaos, and it will not go in his favor just yet, but he does tag 1 kill. 40 seconds to go here. He's got 2 more, and he believes he's got both of his shields. No more stun grenades, but a shotgun to the chest will take him out, and that's going to be a 5-0 flawless victory from Millenium here on unKnights pick. This was their map they chose.
Yeah, unKnights, if unKnights doesn't have anything to show us on their map pick, it's very worrisome for the next map that we're going to be seeing played here, which is Millennium's. And that is, it's just worrisome. I mean, I really hope that unKnights isn't going to get completely rolled over here on this first map.
Yeah, I mean, it is very unfortunate because, like we said, this is your make it or break it. And we talked about it before. We talked about how do you, I think it was some of the North America interviews, we asked some of the players, how do you prepare for a game such as this? Not only strategically going through VODs and stuff, but how do you prepare mentally? How do you prepare physically? And it looked like some of the mental aspects were not up to par with unKnights today.
It might be the mentality. It might just be a lack of preparation like you were talking about earlier, because not only was there just wasn't much change. I mean, we did see that Castle come out for the first floor when they were defending the top floor to try and cover the recruit who was C4ing underneath the B bomb site, but we didn't see Millennium go for a B bomb site take, so it actually didn't.
Was off. I said the timing was off because the recruit rushed into the lobby way too late. There's already IQ down there.
That as well, yeah. And then the Pulse was playing, I think, still in servers at the time when we saw Millennium pushing on into the A bomb site. There were just a couple, a little bit of timing mistakes there, just a couple overall flaws with the strategy, and because of that, now we have Millennium walking away with just a definitive victory.
And, I mean, Millennium has to be feeling great about that win. They know, I mean, obviously, yes, winning on Consulate, winning a map is awesome, but doing it in a 5-0 in a match where you're seen as pretty even, with like even odds against your opponent, has got to feel great.
Yeah, but now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be getting on to our second map of this best of 3, which is going to be Oregon. This was the map picked by Millennium. If we get to our third map, it's going to be Border, which is going
to be. Honestly, I feel like that might go in favor of unKnights should we get there.
unKnights has shown us some really cool things on Border. It's interesting that they opted to go for Consulate first rather than Border, but all the same, here we go. Millennium on attack, unKnights on defense. unKnights will be bringing us to the top floor to begin things here.
Now, again, we are going to see, you can call it however you want to see it, either the Pulse or the Castle being rotated in for Jaeger. Jaeger is one of those operators that I think is a must, a necessity on this top floor site. I mean, especially because you have so many teams that push in from the north windows where you just constantly have all the frag grenades, all the flashbangs being thrown in.
Yeah, Jaeger is considered by many to be a must operator on almost every bomb site, but obviously his pick rate is going to take a little bit of a hit here today, as we've seen him not played quite a lot of these rounds. Not very much by Millennium, but unKnights, they really are trying to go for the more utility. You want to say utilitarian, but those Jaegers, catching the devices, the ADSs, catching the grenades, those are really important. There's a lot of utility in that, and they get overlooked a little bit, I think, because Jaeger is such a good frag operator outside of his utility. He really does bring a lot to the table. But obviously, unKnights have a plan here, a strategy. If there is any if there's ever been a team that does the abnormal and makes it work, it's unKnights. So I really want to see what it is that their plan is here.
Yeah, we'll have to see just how it unfolds. I mean, we are underway in the attack phase. Round number 1, Jacques will take the first kill there on Aliven. Looked like that might have been the back towers. I think he might have peeked out towards the north stairs.
Taking a little bit of a note there from Canadian and Falco alike, roaming with that Pulse in the basement by Red Tower. Now he's seen this used to great effect in the past, previous seasons, and I'm actually curious to see if Falco's going to be doing it as well, because again, he was one of the pioneers of that strategy, having that deep roam with the Pulse on Oregon.
And we're gonna have a nade come out here from Falco, trying to get Spoken. Looks like it tags
Oh,
and downs
what a nade.
him. Wonderful toss, and that is why you bring an ADS, ladies and gentlemen,
Yep.
to prevent that. That is a very common spot you will find members in. Renshira's already pushing up the stair. Oh, he's still outside. I was gonna say he's pushing up the stairs here momentarily.
He is actually going to get picked up, but it's not going to matter. The damage is done. 50 HP off Spoken. Spoken being one of those players who has really been stepping it up for his team. He's going to lose in all likelihood the next engagement he comes into because of that deficit.
Especially because Blackbeard's about to pop into the bottom of those back stairs, which is where Spoken was. Now Flashbang's going to come in. That's going to allow Falco to move in forward. He's going to snag one onto Hicks, jumps on through the hole in the wall, moves on over to the Beast site, and then it'll have the Yogurts finishes off Spoken. Again, that was the Spoken that had 50 HP after that nade tossed him out. Void coming in back from the armory corridor. He might be spotting Falco if he tries to go for a peek here, but there's no need to. He's going to say Stizzy, it's all clear. Moving forward, pre-fire comes on out from Void. Kaoxy's going to be inside of the armory, or the attic, that one. And we are going to see 60 seconds left to go, a 3-on-4 still.
But there is Jock underneath with that C4. Might be able to stop the defuse. Meanwhile, Kaoxy's going to pick off Yogurts,
There's
and here
the
comes
tag.
the defuse.
And
Oh, the miss!
Oh, it missed its target. Didn't even hurt him at all. But that probably, no, it didn't even scare him. So he will get that plant down. Falco hops back on through the hole. He's going to tag the shot there on his Kaoxy. Last two alive going to be Jacques and Void. Now Jacques goes for the kill down to Renshiro, but Renshiro with that face shield will come out on top. Last man alive is going to be Void. C4 tossed out, missed its target. He's going to go for the shots on Stizzy. Drop shot will miss, and it will not look good here for unKnights on round number 1. Falco swings on him over, but it looks like the bearing 9 coming out of Stiz will finish it off.
Yeah, and you could attribute a little bit of that loss there, of course, to the miss of the C4 from unKnights, from Jock. But honestly, basics. We're missing the basics here from unKnights. We did not see west main window covered at all. We saw a sledge run on in, get the flank of the smoke, and have full control over both of the bomb sites. And that is it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. I'm not sure what's happening there with unKnights. There might have been a miscommunication on who's covering what, but because the main west window was left open, and the attackers were allowed to walk on in without any direct challenge whatsoever, full site control was forfeited, and it was pretty much just cut and dry there for Millenium. Of course, that C4 could have recovered it, but unfortunately it was missed.
I mean, if we're talking about who's covering that west window, you did have Spoken. That was the castle. Now
Yeah.
he can't actively watch that window. He can kind of wait to hear someone's moving in and whatnot, but he's tucked behind a hard wall.
Yeah, and if you're gonna have him play the sound game or the information game where, hey guys, they're coming in through west window, that's fine. But you can't leave a rotation through the A bomb site to the B bomb site, because then that leaves your player inside big dorms completely exposed, and that's what we saw happen here for unKnights.
Yeah, and I mean, it did not look like the Valkyrie cameras that were placed down were particularly useful. I didn't see them in necessarily spots where they were getting information for their team.
Yeah, besides that, I mean, just aside from that though, even if they are gathering information, you still have, it was just a full rush from Millenium. There's not, information's not gonna be able to stop a rush. You gotta need a gun to point at the place where Millenium's coming from and, kill the people as they rush in. That's the only really way to stop that. Also, I mean, there were 3 roamers from unKnights.
Yes.
There were only 2 people on the bomb sites. Though that rush was well calculated from Millenium. Because of that, they are going to win that first round, even though it kind of looked like it might have gone in the favor of unKnights early on with that nice pick from Jock.
Now, unKnights is going to go for a red tower push here down the back stairwells and towards the B site. This is a more typical tactic we've seen in the past couple of seasons that helps negate the use or negates the effort of trying to clear out the roamers on the west end of the map.
Yeah, way back it was actually in the previous season it was primarily, hey, let's clear from west to east and make sure there's no roamers, but it takes so much time. Falco's gonna team kill onto Liven. That's an unfortunate. I have no idea what happened there, but he froze. Oh, okay. Well, Falco's going to team kill onto Liven, and unfortunately that's going to put it into a 4 versus 5. Obviously, that was probably a calculated thing there. I'm guessing he had the thing where you come off of like a platform and you're putting down barbed wire and you freeze. So they were trying to reset him, and unfortunately, because they don't have rook armor, you don't get that guarantee to reset.
Yep. So here it is now. We are still going to have one roamer up top. That's going to be the Valkyrie. And Shiro, however, will be on the main floor as Falco and Yogurt, so the last two of the defenders, will be downstairs trying to hold down the site. Now a 4-on-5. We are going to get that blue wall opened up from the construction entrance. Yogurt's actually in a little particular location. Looks like he'll be head tapped there by Chaos. Wonderful communication and tag there. Stizzy, however, did get a trade down on the Void. That's the Buck meeting his match.
Millenium now in a 3 versus 4, as it looks like from the start of that TK, it's going to be a little bit of a crumbling for Millenium's defense.
Now 50 seconds left to go. We're going to have Smoke try to cover himself with gas. Hicks, however, will pick up a kill there on around Shiro. There's only 2 members left here on the Millenium squad. It's going to be Stizzy and Falco. Now they are both on site trying to hold down the fort, hold down the push from the back entrance point. Falco, I want to say he has been droned out. Looks like Spoken goes for the kill. Chaoxy, though, will tag him a little bit. However, he will unfortunately get away. Stizzy's still trying to cover up this drop hatch from above, but the pressure is still coming from behind. Spoken going to have that diffuser. He's going to move in. However, Chaoxy gets tagged on down by Stizzy, and if he has a C4, he could toss it over, stop the plant from going down. However, it looks like Valkyrie gets tagged from behind.
Oh, what a flick!
Good toss there. And it looks as though Hicks will sweep up the win, and we will have unKnights secure round number 2.
Nice try there from Millenium. Unfortunately, it all started spiraling out of control for them after they put themselves at the man deficit. We haven't seen Millenium be at the man deficit a lot in this match, but the 2 rounds that they have been were those 2 rounds we've just seen played on Oregon. The first one where they got that initial pick against their favor, but in that circumstance, they were the attackers. They could set the pace. They saw the opening. They took it. In this circumstance, the attackers were unKnights, and they were like, okay, 5 versus 4, let's just trade each other out. And just that happened. unKnights forced themselves in through that tower, traded each other out, got that win. Also, it was... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, no, go ahead. Oh, you.
Also, it was really nice the way that we had unKnights take control over the meeting hall, deny that roam game flank from Millenium.
We've talked about it before with regards to pushing from this red tower and how at times, depending on the reinforcements and what you're able to open up, it can seem very similar to a pinch, like we see the pushes on Consulate on the basement coming from servers. You have your main corridor, which is going to be the left side. It's going to be that west end of the basement. And then you have your doorway, which is your doorway into quote-unquote kitchen from box here.
Yeah.
Now, it depends on what walls you can get opened up, what utilities you still have. You can make this work, I think, more easily than you can on that Consulate push.
Well, I mean, again, it really comes down to what you're actually utilizing. Because if you're just straight going through the two hallways, the door into the site and just the hallway into the site, then it's usually going to go against you if it's a 5 versus 5. But if you have the man advantage like we saw happen here, then again, it might just come down to trades. More importantly, Millenium took that meeting hall control and they utilized their drop downs to pressure onto, or sorry, unKnights took that meeting hall control and they utilized the drop downs to pressure onto Millenium's defense, which gave them a distinct advantage. Despite, on top of the man advantage, then yeah, again, they're going to be able to win a slugfest like that, which is the most difficult thing for unKnights. We've talked about it before. Winning just straight fights against Millenium. That's the hardest first step that they need to win to get these rounds on the board.
Now, it looks as though Hicks is going to deviate from the proposed plan. He had to tear down that castle barricade, giving it back to Void to use later on if he needs to. But he has rotated all the way over here to White Tower.
Yeah, he's trying to see if we can get anyone repelling on the tower, but unfortunately for Hicks, Millenium has already found their way inside of the tower, and they are positioning themselves to do a similar attack to unKnights, as unKnights did onto them on the previous round. A Jock and a C4 off. Falco, though, that's a very good start. Falco playing that sledge. He's taken out as he pushes his way into the tower. Just that early aggression is going to be, very important for unKnights to put the tables into their, turn the tables into their advantage.
Ranchero is working his way down the stairwell here. He's going to be the forefront, that spearhead we constantly talk about Blackbeard's role, and he's going to make it his way. Basically, he's going to cut off some of the rotation from box to that main corridor, as well as from the laundry room through that main corridor back onto site. Looks as though Liven has gotten out of the red tower, moved on over to construction. We're going to witness him moving in forward. Ranchero is still trying to hold down this corridor as Chaoxy is going to be on the right side behind the shelving. Again, that is a typical spot. That's why you can see the flashbangs coming out. Oh, and Kaoxi rotates out of there. He'll be taken out of commission on the A site. Jacques going to go for his own peek here. I wouldn't necessarily do that with an MP5 and probably a holographic sight against Renshiro. That's going to be the Blackbeard player from a distance.
And Millenium now has evened it out, but they only have 30 seconds to make this push happen. You got to start getting aggressive super fast.
Now there is not going to be any smokes to stop this push, but there is C4 in the hands of Spoken. He's going to try to toss one over there, and it doesn't look like he's going to live. Liven takes out a double kill there, all to Spoken and Jacques. Now the last two alive are going to be Renshiro and Liven. However, Liven is getting removed from play. It's a 2-on-1, 1-on-1 with a boy being injured. However, we have Blackbeard getting taken out, and we will have round number 2, round 3, going to unKnights. He's going to pick up his teammate first, get on over, kill that diffuser with plenty of time. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Good round there from unKnights. Unfortunately, Millenium not exerting that same amount of control. We talked about this earlier. The difference in this round, and this is totally parallel to what we saw happen on the previous map on Consulate, the difference in this round between those two attacks is that unKnights took control of Meeting Hole and maintained it throughout the attack. Millenium, on the other hand, did not. And that's why you saw that Bandit come from above at the most crucial moment and get the final kill onto the Blackbeard to finish out that round. Now Millenium are going to be at the deficit here, 2-1 in favor of unKnights, and they are going to be thrust back onto defense of this basement, as they were unsuccessful defending it the first attempt.
Yeah, and like we had talked about with the top 5 picked operators earlier on this evening, we've seen less variation in the top 5 picked defenders, and this is exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing these top 5 operators here on Millenium. unKnights changing up a little bit. We are seeing the IQ and the buck come out from a little bit of that deviation from the attackers. But again, as we talked about, there's a lot more, we'll call it, room for variation with the attacking side.
Yeah, you got that flexibility to work with, being the ones who choose your own destiny, whereas the defenders have to receive said attack. Now, Millenium setting themselves up. Looks like they're going to keep control over that tower as long as they possibly can. Maybe get one of those early kills we were talking about earlier, where we had Falco taken out on that sled with the C4 from the main stairs. Very dangerous play to get that aggression out, but it also could pay out pretty well for Millenium, as it is,
looks like
I say it's well calculated.
It was well calculated, however, it looks like unKnights is already expecting that, and they're going to push in from that older version west end balcony or west end movement we talked about previously.
Yeah, I mean, this roamer clear is, it works when you know you're dealing with so much tower pressure that it becomes not worth it to invest into taking tower. And I think that's probably the right call from unKnights. I like that adaptation there, and it might actually be what they need here to win this round. So because you're clearing from the west, it's less likely you're going to go for a construction tower take. More likely we're going to see unKnights go for that main lobby drop-down take, which again, very much an older strategy. Voy going to get the first kill of the round onto Liven. That's going to be one of the roamers at the top of that, well, not really a roamer necessarily, but somebody at the top of that.
Sentry.
Yeah, somebody at the top of lobby stairs trying to get aggressive play.
Now Jacques is going to get on top to just make sure that doesn't re-happen. And Chaos knows that Valkyrie's up inside of the attic, but I think Valkyrie's able to rotate around. That was Dizzy. He is back inside of Meeting Hall, moved on back over to the Red Tower. However, we still have Yogurts inside of Meeting Hall along with Renshiro.
Yeah, 1 minute 20 to go, and Knights haven't wasted too much time, and because they got that pick, they are in a very comfortable position here. They now have the drop down open, the wall in Classroom open. They can utilize this drop from every angle, and they just need to cover while Spoken goes for the defuse plan. First gas canister going to be used here from Falco, and that's going to be the start of a very long journey for him. He's got to delay this plan as long as possible.
Now we do have IQ, like I said, at the bottom of the main stairs. Renshiro realizes, hey, there's 50 seconds left. There's not too much I can do. I'm going to be forcing my way out of the Meeting Hall, just holding a very softer angle on it. Now, Spoken is getting there. I think he meant to go pick up that diffuser, but instead he picked up the drone first. Might waste a little bit of time as the gas falls too far. We're going to have Spoken get this down. Nate's going to come out, push Falco back. That's also the last gas grenade. Kaoxi did smack the shots there on the Renshiro as Falco tags snags the headshot there on the Void with an SMG-11. Stizzy looking on up through the drop hatch, where Chaos is going to look on down through. Last two alive going to be Yogurt trying to come around for the flank of Meaning Hole, and Stizzy still underneath inside of the drop hatch. A 4-on-2. Stizzy will fall here, and so will Yogurt. The round will go to unKnights. They're up 3-1.
Completely opposite map here for unKnights, and it's funny, I believe these are on parallel map picks, so unKnights is performing on Millenniums, and Millennium performed on unKnights, at least to the best of my knowledge, so that's kind of interesting that that's happening, but unKnights really coming into their own on Oregon. Millennium, meanwhile, struggling a little bit with these rounds. They did manage to win the first one, but you could almost equate that to unKnights again, as you know, on that first round, that one round that Millennium managed to win, it was kind of just unKnights having 3 off-site, only 2 on-site, and the push was so swift from Millennium from that west window that the rotation was denied. However, now we are on round number 5. unKnights is going to go back upstairs for their defense, and you have to imagine this time, defending this top floor, they're not going to make the same mistake they did the first round of this map, where they allowed Millennium so easily to walk in through that west window without any direct challenge whatsoever.
No, it looks like you will have that direct challenge now. They've taken away the Pulse and put the Mira instead. They've also brought the Jaeger this time and forego the Valkyrie.
Yeah, and that is very clearly due to the fact that Spoken got grenaded inside of Generator last time. They had a castle play in there, and they're just not gonna allow those grenades this time. They're gonna be like, nope, 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 nope. We'll just stop the grenades. None of that, which makes a lot of sense. Voy actually has rotated with Spoken on their roles, I believe, which is interesting. He's clearly unKnights are comfortable playing very different roles and moving about in their operator selection, which is it's nice to see a team able to adapt like that. But at the same time, it begs the question: are you foregoing professionalizing in one particular class for this rotation?
It's like, are you going to be a jack of all trades and a master of none, or are you going to master 1 or 2 operators and be the best that you can be?
Yeah, it is a big question, and it is actually a factor that everyone has to consider when they're playing Siege, is that, you know, you can pick 2 operators and be good at those 2 operators, but then that limits your choices so much. Millennium going to take control of that top tower and start to clear this out one by one. It looks like it might be a B window take based on the fact that Millennium are investing so much time in the tower. You need to take control over the red tower. For those of you who don't know, you need to take control over the red tower so you cannot get flanked when rappelling on the B bomb site windows, which is a common way to apply pressure to the B bomb site so that you can get the defuse plan.
Now Hicks is moving up very aggressively. I think he's prone underneath of the A window.
Now here's the worrisome thing, is that unKnights have pressure downstairs inside the kitchen. If they have a C4 in the kitchen, or even impact grenades, they'll be able to stop the defuse plant from below. Although they do not have a Valkyrie or a Pulse to gather the necessary information to make that call.
And it looks as though we are going to see Hicks. Oh, he's going to get saved here by Spoken.
Spoken misses the shot, but Hicks peeks around and gets the kill on a Falco.
Fabulous crossfire and just transition and communication there. Hicks did have his back to that window as we saw Falco try to move over, but Spoken was able to open up the window at the perfect time and allow for a little bit of confusion. unKnights is here on these north windows. He's looking down towards the kitchen doorway, back on up top towards the A side and B side, but he doesn't have a Claymore. He doesn't have someone trying to cover this side for him.
Ooh, Hicks still playing very aggressively on this window. Will be taken out by Yogurts, but Yogurts traded back by Chaoxes.
50-second trade here. We're going to have Yak finish off Stizzy, and now a 4-on-2. As I say that, a 3-on-2 is going to ensue as Renshiro picks off Chaos and then gets traded down by Voy. Live in here on the north window of the middle site will unfortunately be the last member for Millennium. They need to get this clutch to try to bring it back. It's 4-1. He does not get it, and that is going to be it. 4-1 at the moment here after round 5.
Great play from unKnights there, being in position to get the trades for their teammates. Every time Millennium looked like they were getting their leg up with the control, it was swiftly traded back in the favor of unKnights. And now 4-1 against Millennium. This is the opposite of Consulate. This is the complete opposite, except for 1 round in favor of Millennium. So it looks like we might see map number 3 here as unKnights going on to attack of the kids' dorms, attempt to lock out this map.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Yeah, and with that, I mean, it kind of catches us off guard. We were thinking, okay, lose your own map 5-0, how can you win on another person's map? But maybe that's because Consulate was also Millennium's #1 pick, but unKnights just picked it first.
Yeah, entirely possible. Now, Millenium defending the top floor. They have been unsuccessful in all their defenses, but they have been primarily, I think entirely in fact, on the basement for their defense to start things out. So this is going to be a little bit of a change here, trying to give themselves room to breathe and adapt on Oregon before they get forced onto the third map. Ooh, very aggressive play here from Falco, peeking onto the players, spawning at that front door, not going to get anything coming of it. Falco will be roaming deep inside of the construction tunnel and just basement in general. And this is the roam we were talking about previously that Falco is so famous for having done time and time again. The question then becomes, will unKnights read into it, try to counter him directly, or completely avoid him?
Yeah, I mean, he did give away his position there, so if unKnights was going to push him, they should be doing it quickly so they don't have to re-find where Falco rotated off to.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
But it does look like they aren't going to pay too much attention to him. If there's someone going to go after him, it looks like Hicks would be the closest member. But instead, I mean, you being the Hibana, I mean, you do have a thermite, but being the Hibana and still having some of your pellets might not be the best opportunity for you to go and fight that. So he will get up here inside of the armory, opens up a head level hole, and that's likely where we're going to see Chaos rotate onto.
And Chaos gonna play this angle, now has control over the rotation between the two bomb sites with that little pixel. And he's just gonna wait very patiently on that angle for a defender to peek. It is a very common peek for the defenders. Liven going to cross, but not try to challenge the angle. Very good for him that he didn't opt to do that. Blackbeard has a lot of control here with that spot, and because of that, it was going to allow his teammates... Oh, wow, look at this pre-opened up wall from Millenium. That's going to make it difficult for Spoken to get this, the thermite down. He will put it on their unreinforced wall, but of course, that will be taken out by Renshiro. I love this strategy here from Millenium to deny the master wall being opened. However, if the Buck can put himself up into Master Closet, it's not going to actually play in Millennium's favor.
Yeah, that's the one thing they need to do right now to open up this wall is get the Buck over there because they have foregone. They haven't brought the Ash, and I think that was a calculated move on Millennium's part to realize, let's leave this wall open. They only have the Buck. There's a good chance he's going to be a flank holder, so he's going to have to waste a lot of time to get up there. Now, 45 seconds left to go in the round. Jacques going to move on up to the west window as we have him still peeking on over towards the white tower. Chaos is moving on forward off of the armory doorway or armory window. He's now moving in towards the corridor. He's got to look in towards the ladder and attic, as we do have Falco here. Now Void tosses in one grenade with 25 seconds left to go. Spoken has moved in forward. The wall has been opened up. He's going to allow him to get in, but the gas grenade is going to force him out. However, he will have plenty of time. I believe that was the last gas grenade in the hands of Renshiro. Now looking around, Hicks picks him off there with a nice corner shot and moves on over, but Jokers and Liven are there to get Hicks, and Jacques Spoken also gets taken out. Chaos will remove Liven, and now a 2-on-3, however, we have Chaos getting taken out, and Voy as well. What a wonderful collapse by Millenium at the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, we talked about this crossfire between the top of White Stairs and main dorms before. How if you have two defenders, even in a 2 versus 5, they can come out on top there with that crossfire. It's so effective. More importantly, Millenium wasted quite a lot of time with that generator wall to Master Closet. And then also they had Falco coming for that from off of his late roam, or deep roam rather, into the attic. He applied a third little crossfire to try and cut off the unKnights attack even more, and just that happened. Now, Millenium looking to fight their way back here on Oregon are going to be attacking onto this basement again, and they, yet again, have been unsuccessful on this particular attack thus far.
They have. I think this is it's their second time trying to attack this site, and it hasn't been successful for them. So we're going to have to see how they're going to unfold. Last time they tried to take from the red tower, and they kind of pinched themselves. And like you said, they didn't cover the flanks in meeting hall. The late roam, I believe that was from, I think it might have been from Void, who's now playing Echo.
10 seconds left.
Just came back in and got kills he needed to from above.
Yeah, unKnights, just like they did last time, are going to invest quite a lot in that meeting hall, and going to be the big question. Will Millenium try to focus on meeting hall and clear it out this time, or will they simply push in through the lanes and get taken out from above in the later ends of the round? They are seemingly positioning themselves to take from the tower construction yet again, so they're going to have to play this slightly better. Tower control going to come out to start things off here. They're going to challenge onto Keoxys. Keoxys going to give himself away with that spray, but rotate into the attic. Going for a layered defense, but no, Yogurt's ready with the angle from the roof. Will take out Keoxys and put his team in a fantastic position now with the man advantage.
That was a very calculated collapse, one of those pick and receives or hunt and receive
Honestly, it kind
strategies.
of looked like it might have just been a little bit of luck on the positioning there, because they would not have necessarily been conscious of the fact that Jaeger was playing in the tower and rotating into attic. But lo and behold, we've got an Ash on the roof. It could have been a calculated play though. It could have been them reading into unKnights' defense. Jock going to be playing by the sandbags inside of the meeting hall, get that spray up onto the attic and get the pre-fire on Yogurts.
Yeah, that was Yogurts unfortunately not being able to calculate how many bullets were just being fired in his way. He tried to say, okay, you're going to fire a little bit, but there's some hesitation, we'll call it some hesitation or strategy fire coming out of Jock. But there's also a headshot being landed onto him, as well as Liven tries to take the role that Yogurts was unable to fulfill. Hicks will also take a couple bullets into the chest of Liven, going to give him to about 40 health as he moves on out of the attic. There are 3 defenders. They're all on site. Hicks being closest to the attackers, being right up on that B wall of box. Aaron Shear's going to use this soft wall as a little bit of hidden cover, we'll say. He wants to move in some time, but the pellets here from Hibana's X-Kairos will be taken out of commission.
Millenium have the man advantage. Smokes used all of his gas canisters, and all they really need to do for Millenium is trade each other out. Here comes the push.
There it is, Hicks, however, able to just get out unblinded. He will be taken out, be downed off, and then killed here. It looks like Voy. Voy's gonna be the last man alive. Looking down from the main hallway, he's got someone coming up behind. That's gonna be Sledge, and Falco unfortunately just gonna call it out. Say he's here inside of the laundry room. Goes for the shotgun kill and misses as Falco comes out on top. It's now a 4-3. Still one more round to get to overtime for Millenium.
Fantastic collapse there from Millenium. They took control of the meeting hall, although it wasn't necessary in this instance. And more importantly, they had a good man advantage moving forward in the push into the main site. Because they took out that roamer early, that Jaeger, that means they didn't have to worry about the flank, which ultimately led to them winning the round. Now, laundry room, supply room, defense coming out from Millenium. And again, this is a site that they have yet to defend successfully. So, will this be the round that they get the mix-up? Clearly, Millenium has been reading into the attacks and the defenses of unKnights on this map, and they are starting the comeback here. But this is the last hurdle. This is the last round they have to win before putting themselves into overtime where they can more comfortably maneuver. Because of their lack of success here previously, they really do have to push it forward into overdrive to get this round win.
Now it looks as though Falco is going to be staying on site. Typically that's what the smoke does. The only time we necessarily see smoke off site on a downstairs bomb hold is going to be up inside of the kids' dorms with that mirror window facing the west window.
Yeah, and we've seen that happen quite a lot in the Latin American scene especially. But we're not seeing it seemingly here from Millenium to start us off on this round. And it makes sense. It's a bit of a risk. You know, it's kind of a challenge that you have to when you're going for that.
Now Jacques is going to move in from the west tower. It's going to be that small white tower here. He's going to come into dining, eventually clear out into kitchen, but the drone from Voy easily going to spot out the Valkyrie inside. Now he's going to stay on that drone, allowing the rest of his team to progress forward. You can see Voy moving in. He realizes the hole is there. He's waiting for the rotation. Wonders if Stiz is going to come on back, but Stiz is already up inside of the attic. Along with, I think, Renshiro and Yokers. I think it's going to be a 3-man squad in the attic. There it is. Lots of players here. Now Millenium is going to have to try to hold Meeting Hall from the top, I think is what they're doing.
A bomb has been located.
Looks a little clustered up there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, Millenium putting a lot of emphasis on that attic and Meeting Hall control, as well as tower. And the answer for unKnights is going to be, hey, let's take control over this main lobby and go for a main lobby drop take. It did work for unKnights in the past, but will Millenium have an answer for it? With that heavy roam game, you got to expect the flank to come from the west side, as a rotation will likely come out through the attic. Although, no, it's double reinforced. No rotation will be possible, which means that Millenium is kind of just spread out.
Yeah, now Yogurt did get out of the attic, however, we still have 2 members from Millenium up top. Now with Hibana, that's going to be Hick going upstairs. He actually might try to challenge the window of attic, but Voy has already gotten himself here in the kitchen. He's going to look for the rotation. Tags the shots there to Renshira as Yogurt falls to Spoken. There's only one more roamer, and I think it's going to be Stizzy, but he's here in Meeting Hall trying to go for the push. Diffuser has already been planted. And there are now about 35 seconds to go. Live and tags one. He's going to tag another. No, he misses his target. Kaoxy comes out on top and then is downed. But that's going to be Spoken who's down. Kaoxy's still alive and kicking at the bottom of the stairs. And Stiz will try to challenge Void, misses his target, and that will be round number 8, going to the hands of unKnights. We are going to have a 5-3 victory. We're going to go to Border for map number 3.
Well played there to unKnights. A good attempt at a comeback from Millenium, but unfortunately that last round was just too much for them. They could not adapt to the main lobby take, and as a result they will lose. Now the reason what happened there on that main lobby take for Millenium, why they were unsuccessful, was they invested too heavily in that roam game, Meeting Hall in attic. Because of that, all that unKnights needed to do was contain the roam game with control of the main lobby, because the rotation, again, from that attic was cut off to the west side of the, or not the west side of the building, but just above the main lobby and the master and the armory. Then those roamers were rendered useless, and the push came in from unKnights into the main lobby, as we so typically see.
What do you think was the we'll call it the ideal concept behind having those 3 defenders inside of the attic?
It seemed to be a counter strategy for that main tower construction take that we so commonly see on this particular bomb site, and it would have likely worked had that been the case, but because unKnights read into it, went for their main lobby take, they narrowly avoided that overtime by just basically going for the opposite direction Millenium was focusing.
I mean, we also had that mirror window that came out late in the game, going towards the north, or those top stairwells, the east stairwells. And like you said, I think you're right. They could have placed that mirror window at either location, because all 4 walls are reinforced. So if it was that red tower push, they could have placed it there and easily helped defend it there.
Yeah. Now, map number 3 is going to be a border between these 2 teams, and that's a very well-balanced map to be bringing it to for the final decider map. I mean, both overall, this matchup has gone extremely fast. Despite the fact that we're going to our 3rd map now, it's just kind of zoomed by. So it's going to be curious to see how it is we see this 3rd map played, because you know, it's basically been just, it got to go fast this whole time between both of these teams. So often we see in the Pro League, rounds and matches come down to the last 30 seconds every time before the attackers make their push. But these 2 teams have been very aggro.
I think that's something that, like you said, has been a little bit different with this series, with these 2 teams, is that we are not always waiting to the last 15 seconds. I mean, that plant went down, I think, with about, I want to say 30, 45 seconds left to go.
There was more than a minute, I think, left.
Was there more than a minute?
Whatever the case be, there was a lot of time on the board.
So, I mean, yes, you had the 5-0, which made this fly, but not only is the maps going quickly, but you also have the rounds themselves that are going in a very high-paced fashion. Like I said, we are going to get underway with Border here in just a moment. We're waiting for the admin to do a coin toss to determine what side either team is going to be on. That's how the 3rd map is chosen, or at least the sides for the 3rd map is. And in your experience, do you see a favorite? Do you see a favorite starting on defense as opposed to attack on Border?
I mean, not necessarily. Of course, it's going to be nice to defend Armory first, but it really doesn't matter. I think most teams opt to go for attack first because it allows them to set the momentum of the match, because we've talked about this before. The attackers have the initiative in almost every circumstance, where they get to choose where they're coming from, how they're attacking, what operators they're picking to deal with your defense. I mean, it's all up to them to choose. They can walk. They have this nice big open area outside the map itself to say, okay, we can go over here. We can go over there. They got drones to figure out where you're trying to set up your defenses to stop them from coming to wherever you assume they might be coming from. So the attackers usually have that initiative. So we usually see the attack preferred on majority of maps. But in this instance, I mean, it's hard to say who's going to want to go where.
And we've also talked about, so aside from just what side do you want to start on when the match itself starts, we also talk about an overtime, because there's a decent chance this might get to that 10th, 9th, 11th round. We also talk about sometimes how it's not always the best option to start, or the best, we'll call it situation, to start on defense when you are in overtime, because you're going to defend your best site, you have to attack the opponent's best site, and then you have to defend your secondary. Do you see that being a case here? I mean, I'm referring back to maps such as Clubhouse, where, yes, you want to defend the bottom first, but then you have to attack the bottom, you're likely going to lose that, then you have to defend the bar and stock.
I mean, all that could be changed by winning your bottom attack, of course, but yeah, I know, sometimes it might be preferable when you're going on Clubhouse to start in overtime on attack, specifically because of that, because then, hey, they're defending bar, and bar is, if you could calculate, if you can organize your bar attack well, then you usually will win it.
It's typically how it's done, although I think Flipside said we don't even want to do a bar. We just want to go up to catch room.
We'll do other things.
We'll do other things.
We'll mix things up.
We'll do the things with the other things, and they'll get the win. However, here we are. We are going to get underway with Border momentarily. Again, we're still waiting on the adversaries now. It looks like they have chosen their correct side, so we are going to get underway, ladies and gentlemen. So please enjoy the third map in this best-of-3 series between Millenium and unKnights. It's going to be here on Border. unKnights won the second map. Millenium won the first. Let's see who's going to win the third. Let's head into our game and see what operators are going to be selected.
unKnights starting on attack, Millenium starting on defense here for Border. Armory Lockers, of course, going to be our first defended site. Millenium going with the old school, what makes total sense here. They are having the mirror, and I'm the most curious and important thing for this Millenium defense is where those mirror windows are going to find themselves. There are many different options that are all absolutely viable here on this particular map and this particular floor defense.
Yeah, and this is, like, we constantly talk about, okay, Mira's very well balanced. She's able to be a top-tier operator, but she's also not necessarily 100% you need her to win a site on most bomb sites. This bomb site in particular, I would say I don't understand a non-Mira meta.
Yeah,
at this point in the game.
On Armory, it's very difficult to make a non-Mira defense work. I want to say we've seen it, but I'm not entirely sure.
Well, I mean, yes, for those at home thinking, oh, well, Mira wasn't always in. Yes, there's obviously been non-Mira meta strats.
Yeah, way
but
back.
At this point in the game, with Mira being in here for nearly 2 seasons now, it is very difficult to find a solid non-Mira strat for the defense on this top 4 site.
Yeah. Now, Millenium going to be playing the roam game down in the servers with that Valkyrie C4. That's just a little bit of a last-second option. So if the attackers manage to take control over either of the bomb sites and go for the diffuser plant, we will still have that C4 underneath to say, hey, we can deny this plant. With those coupled with the Valkyrie cameras inside the site, in all likelihood, that will be the information gathering to say how they're planning here. C4 here. The entire floor is destructible. The options abound. unKnights going to go for, or Kaoxi specifically, going to go for a little bit of a blind nade there onto the locker sandwich. Not going to find that. Going to use their nice little jump up there onto the north balcony. Now that is very important that they use that jump up there because it completely negates that ladder that you see on the bus. And trying to crawl up the ladder exposes you so very much.
Now we are going to see that mirror window get opened up, forcing Falco to rotate over. Now there were 3, as we just saw inside of the archives. We have Falco dropping into servers, and there's also Renshiro down there to help him out. With 3 members on site for Millenium, they're going to have 2 roamers, and we are going to see this unfold over the next minute and a half. It looks like this is going to be an east balcony, north window take. You have Spoken trying to push his way into the offices. Wall has been not opened up just yet, but Spoken's looking to change that.
So this office's take is going very well for unKnights right now. No direct challenge coming out from Millenium. No mirror window in the CCTV. No walls opened up there. And because of that, unKnights is going to be able to open up the walls they want to open up, which is the B main wall. And they now have full control over the site. Millenium's going to have a very difficult retake ahead of them as Void takes out Renshiro.
So see that Spoken is inside of the offices. We know he has Diffuser. Liven getting spotted out and then finished off there by Spoken. Good communication and collapse along with the droning. Yogurts is going to be seen here in the back of lockers. Look as he goes for the shot there. He will tag Spoken from afar, and it looks as though he will not get down just yet as he picks up a second kill into Chaos. Now you have a 2-on-3. You still have Hick, Jacques, and Void. They can be the last 3 members from unKnight. Gas grenade is going to come out from Falco underneath. That's going to try to stop this plant. I did not get a chance to see how many gas grenades he's got left, but he is going to be the only member left alive. He's got 1 gas grenade in his hands. Now Jacques will take out Yogurts. Another tag on down by Falco, and he's got 2 members left to remove from play. Okay, he's going to try to rotate in through the west balcony, move on over, up behind. Will he spot Void? He will spot him, but that's not enough. You got to get some shots down onto him, which is exactly what Void had done. We are going to see round number 1 go to unKnights.
A nice attack there from unKnights, but most importantly, to be honest, not enough challenge, contention into the offices from Millenium. Because they forfeited that office's control so very easily, unKnights was allowed to position themselves as quite nice and comfortably to take right on in to Archives without, I mean, there was no real challenge from Millenium. It was kind of disappointing to see, to be honest. I really want to see Millenium try and maybe do a CCTV mirror window, open up those offices' walls to try and stop that thermite from just waltzing on in and getting that wall open, or maybe try to play somebody inside sandwich of offices. We've seen that happen quite a lot before. Do something to contend it, because that's the typical take, and Millenium just didn't have anything to counter that take. Yeah,
and you're saying put the mirror window in CCTV and open up fountains so you can look into offices to try to deny the thermite from getting in. I like that, and we see that often enough, but we've also seen attacking sides try to negate that by just proning. Apparently, there's not many areas in many maps that I've seen where it is preferred to prone your way to a particular corner, a particular location. And
yeah.
So this is one of those sites inside of the office, going from that window all the way up to the wall by Archives.
Yeah, the point being is you just need to counter it somehow. You gotta counter that take. The office's take is the most typical take on that side. Although we are seeing unKnights opt to defend ventilation server instead of the top floor for their first defense here.
We do have that middle drop hatch inside of the middle offices opened up. That's going to allow them to rotate back downstairs should the call come that they need to collapse back onto site. But at the moment, we are just getting underway, so there's not too much pressure being put on them just yet. Millenium's still trying to focus their way around, decide how they're going to progress onto the site, and above it to clear out those roamers, because we've seen it before. This is a very similar hold to vertical plays, such as if you're going to be playing on, we'll say Chalet, inside of the kitchen and trophy. You do have members that stay up top. You need to clear out those top side roamers, those top side defensive holders, if you want to gain control of the bomb site.
Millenium all around this armory defense now from unKnights. Their roamers in armory might rotate back into ventilation once they feel this pressure coming from the majority of the roster of Millenium. It's going to be a Castle and a Jaeger right now, as Falco has already moved his way into the Archives. He's going to see these angles from below. And we've seen unKnights on borders so many times before utilize these angles extremely well to get early picks in the round. Let's see if that plays through into this particular round.
Now it looks as though Jacques going to feel the wrath of the Twitch drone. That's going to tag him once. Looks like Hicks also gets tagged a little bit. That's 20 damage you've done so far. About enough as 1 bullet hitting someone in the chest. So that is a good use of the Twitch drone, seeing as how there is no mirror to play. Echo will be taken out by Falco with the quick peek from the from the floor above. Wonderful job. That's also going to disable the yokai. However, he will still get information if it was tossed out. Liven trying to be the receiving end of this west balcony, seeing if someone's going to rotate over from the lockers into CCTV. But it doesn't necessarily look like that just yet. Spoken's going to be the only roamer up top. He's still going to try to hold down lockers and go for the fight. I don't think he's going to walk out of this. He's either going to die trying or he's going to hold on to this site. Jacques and Hicks both taking down a double kill there. That's going to be a wonderful time as Yogurts will also fall to Jacques. Now we have a 4-on-2 with Renshiro and Falco. Last two alive. Falco's going to do a quick drop here into the teller's line. He's now moving towards the bathroom. Gas grenade forces him over. We'll see him move in. He's got Hicks to the left inside. He also has Jacques far down into servers. Go for the shots now. Falco will feel the wrath of that. One will go down. Another one's going to come out. Here comes the Deagle shots. Looks like that will be it. And sorry, not the Deagle, just the normal pistol there. And Falco will fall. Millenium will not win round number 2. It will go to unKnights, and they're now up 2-0.
unKnights looking very strong here on border. Millenium that we saw from Consulate just hasn't shown up since. Now what happened there on that take was Millenium. They were going for a, hey, let's take offices, let's take archives. Once we have office archive control, we can then position ourselves to open up that bathroom wall straight on into the server bomb site. But unfortunately, despite the fact that they had top-down control, the pushes from the main attackers coming from tellers into bathroom were unsuccessful. Then it became a matter of unKnights simply waiting patiently for the guys upstairs to relocate themselves into that same exact take and get the frags that they need to win the round. Jock, obviously, as you saw there with 6 kills, really stepping it up for his team in these first 2 rounds of border. And now we will see Millenium, despite not winning their first Armory defense, go back upstairs in an attempt to win it. This time they will, looks like, be pressuring into that sandwich. They will have a mirror window on the fountain, applying much more focus to this office defense. I really, really do like this adaptation from Millenium. Let's hope it works well. Let's see if it works for them.
Now, what they'll need first, though, looks as though with that the single wall that we saw by the
a little early.
Office, a little early there. Looks like with that wall being reinforced right by Renshiro on the single wall, we will likely have someone inside of office. If not, then there's no harm, no foul. But if they do have someone in there, they need an ADS because every Pro League team knows that the way to get someone out of that office spot is to throw a nade in from above. That's the quote-unquote new thing to do. And so, with that being the case, you need that ADS to prevent those nades from going down your way.
Drone active.
Ooh, barely missing that shot there onto Steezy. Hicks will be a little bit upset about that, I'm sure. And it does look like unKnights will be rotating their attack somewhat, seemingly positioning themselves to take CCTV control before pushing their way into the A wall. And that makes a lot of sense given that they now have a, well, they had a thermite last time, but they're also bringing a thermite this time. You can see these repels. Oh, if only a run out could happen, but alas, it will not, as none of the Millenium players are positioned to do such run out. Now that this thermite is coming down on the main A wall, oh no, Steve's gonna get down.
Look at that, a little bit late battery tossed it, and he will be injured and then removed. Oh, he's not gonna be seen just yet by Chaos.
Renshiro with the trade back onto Jock though.
Now, we know Stizzy will not get picked up. Renshiro's actually been trapped inside the lockers. I don't know if he's gonna back out of there. Chaoxy will see him if he goes for a peek.
Chaoxy's probably gonna stay on this angle for a long time.
He is, he knows he's right there.
Steezy, I don't think he's been spotted yet, amazingly, is still alive on the main wall. Eventually he will die, but that is not yet.
Yeah, there's no need. I mean, even if unKnights knows that he's there, there's no need to necessarily
they don't have to secure
go for it.
Yeah.
They should make sure that he doesn't, that no one rotates over there for him. But he will finally go down by Spoken. Flashbang's to go in through that open mirror window. Yogurt's going to try to toss out one C4.
Attackers have dropped the bomb.
A little bit close there.
And there's the C4 toss, and boom, he will go down. Spoken will fall to Yogurts' C4. Now a 4-on-3.
That was a very important C4 there from Yogurts.
Setting C4.
Now I don't quite know if Renshiro has C4 as well, but Voy's going to remove Falco. And so with that, it's a 3-on-2. Wonderful job there by Renshiro, finishing him off. Voy and Hicks, last 2 alive. Hick gonna be the last man. He needs to move on over to the west balcony. He does so with 30 seconds left to go, but he's now gonna rotate over through CCTV in through the middle corridor. Renshiro already hears him running, and it looks like Yogurts will tag him on down, looking through the middle, and that will be round number 3. Going to Millenium, they finally are on the board here for border.
Against all odds, Millenium managed to win that round. unKnights had full control over CCTV without any contention whatsoever. Plenty of time. They opened up the A wall nice and easy. They even downed the bandit in the process. Then after that, they got the mirror window in that small office opened up. So it didn't look like Millenium really had anything going their way. But while all of this was happening, Millenium kept getting the trades back for their utility onto the players of the unKnight attack. And that's really how it works. I mean, if you're going to have your mirror window be opened up, okay, get the kill to trade it back. If you're going to have your A wall opened up, okay, get the kill to trade it back. And it definitely worked for Millenium in this circumstance. Is this the momentum shift that Millenium really needs, though, to win this map and the series as a whole? Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the third map, if you're just joining us, of this best-of-3 series. unKnights managed to win on Oregon, and we saw earlier Millenium win on Border. Now we are here on, sorry, not on Border, excuse me, Consulate. Now we're here on Border, on our third map, trying to decide who, or trying to figure out who is going to be the one to walk away with the series and the spot in the playoffs to then try and make their way to land.
Now we are having a Monty pick for the first time this series, and
a little bit different.
To me, that just means they're going East Balcony, which has already basically been confirmed by most strategies.
There's a lot of ways you could use Monty, but I think you're right. For the most part, we see an East Balcony. Sometimes we've seen a Southwest take, you know, from CCTV into the A wall, but it's not often. It's not common. Ooh, nice little angle there from Hicks. Unfortunately, he is going to miss the shot. He will light Yogurts up, but not secure the kill.
See the Valk cam there inside of the archives. That's going to provide some utility, some line of sight for them to toss C4s over the shelving units should they need to when the call comes. But it's likely we're going to see Jacques get a kill or two with a C4 from underneath. Now he's not directly underneath of the A site just, or underneath of the B site just yet. He's over here inside of the teller's line. But again, he's just looking for an opportunity. Now with no smoke on the defense team, we will see, oh, looks like Hicks trying to pre-fire or hit this window, prep the window. And I think Liven is ready to toss a Claymore down, and we're going to see Stiz move in forward, and Liven will likely go for the plant behind him. There's the plant going down. No gas grenades coming out because there's no smoke. Looks like C4 will also not be tossed out. Valkyrie's there, but I don't think she's got it in hand. No, she's already used it. Diffuser will go down. Falco with the glass will tag one shot in the Chaoxy, and Hicks picks up the trade. Liven and Rashir were also able to down a member, and we have a 2-on-3 now. 2-on-2 now that Liven and Falco, last two alive. Spoken gets detected outside, but a wonderful spot here from Falco. They know they cannot long arm this, and there's one shot there, tagging it right down onto Spoken. Not going to kill him off. He's got a 3 armor. But with the Void being the last man alive, he's going to look on out here to go for Liven, but this is not going to go well. A wonderful line of sight for Falco. Moves on out, looks for the kill, and unfortunately, this is going to be the round. There's not enough time for him to get rid of this, and Liven is there with the shots down. Millenium bringing this back 2-2 now.
Love that angle there from Falco all the way back in his spawn, waiting nice and patiently after his teammates got the defuse plant. Also love the very quick and concise push on into the B bomb site, not wasting any time there. Millenium managed to bring it back here, like you said, to even round count. unKnights now going to be feeling the pressure as Ventilation Workshop. Finally, a rotation of the sites for Millenium will come out. And that was a very, I mean, to be honest, there's not much to talk about that round. I mean, we had Millenium contain the run out from the east stairs. That didn't actually happen. And most importantly, from that main office. Once the run out was contained, they pushed their Montaigne in with a diffuser planted right behind him. Hard cover, no need for the smokes or anything, no need for disruption really. They had the control over that north balcony to cover the plant even more so. And then after the fuse plant went down, like you talked about, it was in a spot where it could not be long-armed from cover. And Falco, all the way out on that van, managed to lock out the round. Now Millenium going into the defense of the armory. We'll see if they can regain the lead, which they had so little rounds ago.
Now we are going to see, looks like, we've seen this mirror placement before, where Ranchero is right now, and that's one that I'm still trying to figure out exactly the full usage of it. Yes, he's going to be able to see into Fountain, looking towards the main door. But what other things can that be used for? Or is that its only purpose?
Which mirror window?
The mirror window inside of the archives facing Fountain and the offices. So we see it right here. Is that its only purpose, just to see inside of
It gives
Fountain?
you visibility of Fountain, but it also gives you visibility of that main office wall that we see the spectator zooming in right there. So it gives you a lot of information. It also tells you if someone's rotating in through the main hallway. It's a great mirror window. Liven going to be playing inside of that what would be top the bomb site, but is in fact archives now because we are defending the basement. Well, I say basement, the first floor, the main floor. And unKnights looking to take control of offices before pushing their way into archives so that they can likely, again, take similarly to what we saw Millenium do from the tellers into the bathroom and open up that A wall. It's a long take, though. They've got a lot of work to put in to make this happen. And they are also going to start taking control over CCTV. Looks like it might just be a flat-out full top floor control as we see Spookin open up this archives wall along with Hicks. Chaoxy's on that north balcony, and this archives is soundly in control of unKnights. Any one of the defenders caught in that crossfire would have died almost instantly. Renshiro has rotated back to the small office in Armory, and CZ's going to get taken out by the long angle. He's been downed. Renshiro's not going to be able to pick him up.
I think that was Voy from CCTV. He opened up the wall, had a line of sight in, I believe, towards lockers.
Whatever the case be, we do have Steezy down in the bunker. But again, his teammate will not be able to cross to pick him up as he is a 3 armor and way, way too slow to make that rotation. Steezy likely to bleed out. Assuming, oh wow, actually he's going to be able to crawl away as unKnights have rotated off of this take upstairs and have opted to go again for that bathroom main wall into A take.
Oh, nope, he's tried it, but he was not able to crawl quick enough. Spoken has taken him out.
Renshiro did not go for the revive as he thought there would be someone from unKnights covering it and baiting it out, but unfortunately, unbeknownst to him, there was not.
Oh, a good nade going to be tossed here by Jacques, and a land on Liven, and he goes down. Wonderful toss there. Great timing on the cook as well. Not able to get him to move. Yogurts now will feel the wrath of that second frag grenade, however, not doing too much to him. Yogurts picks up that kill into Jacques. A 3-on-4, 15 seconds left to go. unKnights needs to collapse right now. There's not too much time, however. Looks like Falco gets taken out. Yogurts and Renshiro last two alive. Renshiro is above. He's got the ability to drop, but he's going to be dropping into 4 people looking right at him.
If he stops the defuse plant.
Oh, good.
Oh, he will!
Stops it. It's 3 seconds left to go. Now he doesn't realize that's the diffuser, but he will stop it. No, it's going to go. Chaoxy is here. Plant goes down. It looks like Renshiro picks up another kill here from above.
If he just gets the diffuse plant, no! Unfortunately, he's going to drop down.
He's going to drop, and we will have Buck there to finish it off. Wonderful cover by Voy, but what an intense round ending right there.
Nice attempt there from Renshiro. Try and bring it back for his team. Millenium playing a little bit too exposed there. Also, at times, a little too passively. For example, Renshiro didn't pick up his teammate. The Thermite didn't finish off the kill. The Thermite was on that push with his teammates in the bathrooms. It just happened that Renshiro didn't go for the pickup because he thought it was being covered and baited out by the enemy. And there's no way, of course, that he could have known that it wasn't. But it's a mentality of being, we need to play this safe. We need to not take the risk. And because of that, unKnights now are in the lead. Millenium needs to get back into what we've seen from Millenium in the past, that aggressive play, that just confident play that we're not seeing from them right this minute. Now, unKnights defending the top floor. Millenium going to be attacking onto this, and this time it's not going to be a Montaigne plant, so we will not see a Glaz or a Montaigne coming out. Instead, an IQ and the very much more typical Sledge.
We are going to see a strat that we've seen previously out of the Latin America scene, with only reinforcing one of the 2 walls on the west balcony of lockers. Placing a mirror window on that, that's going to allow them to maintain actual control over that balcony instead of just visual control.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser. Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
And the reason for that is for them to cover this door, which is going to allow Chaoxy to stay inside of the CCTV along with Spoken.
Millenium looks like they might want to clear out some of the roamers on the first floor before they make this push happen. Doesn't look like there are any right now, though. They will figure that out in a moment as they are droning out that floor. The entire unKnights defense is entirely focused on the top floor here. Spoken and Chaoxy's investing a lot of their manpower into the CCTV itself. This position with the mirror window is going to have a lot of control over the majority of this top floor. You can see here Falco with a nice little predetermined angle is actually going to pressure onto Spoken. Might be able to get the kill if Spoken peeks aggressively on the mirror window. Again, this roam clear is coming out, but there is no roamer.
Yeah, they basically just need to recognize that and start focusing their attention, focusing their efforts on clearing out one corner of this top floor to then progress into, because right now, it's still almost all under control here of unKnights.
Yeah, it might be that Millenium is trying to clear the CCTV hold from below. That's a good way to get rid of the mirror window.
Now, we still have half the round left to go. We're going to be witnessing unKnights still just holding their position. However, there is going to be the drop hatch getting opened up right next to Spoke, and that's going to be Yogurt underneath with that breaching round. Chaoxy's job right here is to hold down the doorway so they don't push Spoken. You've got Hicks trying to cover the left side of Chaoxy. This is a full-on collapse, a full-on cover for unKnights. And it looks as though a little tag, little hipfire headshot going to land from Unspoken onto Yogurts, takes him out of commission. 4 on 5 still, 60 seconds left to go in the round. Spoken's gotten back upstairs, however, not in the same location he was previously. He's going to be inside of the lockers room now, helping to hold down the fort with Hicks.
Millenium have control over CCTV now with that rotation. Despite losing a player, they are going to have what they need to make the push happen moving forward. They're going to have to contend this mirror window, though, on the main A wall before they get the actual defuse plan.
And we do have Jacques picked up 1 kill and alive, who gets traded out immediately. Now we're going to have Renshiro moving in very quickly here as Roy is about to go for this shot. Oh, Renshiro actually opened up some of the wall, moved in towards the middle hallway. He takes out Spoken, then gets traded out by Hicks. Voy gets removed as Stizzy comes swinging in. Now a 2-on-1 with Stizzy being the last man alive for the attacking squad. Looks like he takes out one. Can he turn on another? No, a 1-on-1 10 seconds left to go. We are going to have Chaos trying to rotate over to the west stairwell as we now have the diffuser getting planted by Stizzy. Now he will get that successfully. Chaoxy being that rotating all the way around, doesn't necessarily know which site it's been planted in, so he has some clearing out to do. It looks as though Stizzy has now had his eyes on the other side. He's moving into CCTV. If there's no Claymore, if there's no drone, he could catch Stizzy off guard. Pre-fire comes around, that's going to draw the attention. He's not going to take that opportunity to come on through the middle. He knows that was a bait, though. He killed off the drone, moved in forward, going to go for the pre-fire here momentarily. Goes to the wall, misses his target. Stizzy goes in 3, 2, 1.
Oh,
Grabs the
Stizzy!
headshot there. That's going to be Stizzy making round 6 his. It's now 3-3.
What a lockout there from Millenium, bringing it back on this map of Oregon, Border, keeping the momentum in their team's favor. That really could have gone either way. For both of these teams, it's just a continual slugfest. unKnights clearly having great map knowledge, and Millenium, meanwhile, just getting the frags where necessary to move this. I mean, think about that round. I mean, Millenium had no real strategic advantage, yet they brought it back somehow from a 3-on-5 to a victory.
Yeah, like I said, they needed to take some corner of the map and start pushing in. They did that with CCTV with Mira falling down, and that forced Jaeger to then say, okay, well, I can't hold this by myself, so he had to rotate back, and ultimately they were able to gain control of that and then push in from there.
Once they had CCTV, you would have expected to see just a main A wall take, but they quickly rotated off of that. Millenium quickly rotated off of that, and they went straight over into the offices to try and take the B bomb site, and that worked out great for them. Once they had B's bomb site control, they pushed into the A, and the roamers were cut off guard from unKnights. They weren't expecting such pressure into the site from that angle, from the offices. And the rotation was just a little bit too slow, and because of that, now we're on 3-3. Millenium will be defending this top floor of Armory yet again. unKnights could be going for their next attack attempt.
Now again, this is the 3rd map in this best of 3, meaning the winner of this will move into the playoffs to secure that 2nd seed spot in Group B. Again, we're playing our Group B match first tonight. Group A is going to be 2nd, and therefore they will go with, I believe it's going to be Sisu into the playoffs coming out of the Group B group stages.
unKnights now. Positioning themselves out on the south balcony and the east balcony. Looks like it's going to be an office take just to start things off here.
Keeping an eye here on Jacques. He's going to clear out bathrooms and tellers, as we also have Spoken droning out as well. They're trying to drone out the Falco. They're trying to drone out everyone that might be downstairs. Falco's the only one there. He's playing that Pulse. Typical locations being off of site when you're playing Pulse.
Bomb has been located.
Keoxy's going to do a little drone gymnastics, getting his drone up there on top of the bus ladder and then moving over to the ventilation unit on the north window of that A site.
Going live.
unKnights taking this nice and slow. They don't need to take any unnecessary risks here on this
Bomb located by attackers.
challenge onto the offices.
Now Falco is still spotting this out. They know that the push is going to come in from the east balcony. They've taken control of office, and they are going to move into B.
This is really worrisome. You could see 4 players from Millenium all centered around the A bomb site. We're only going to see Falco able to stop this defuse plan coming out from unKnights from below. That's the only chance that Millenium has here, because the site retake is going to be extremely difficult now that main B bomb site wall has been opened up.
And Falco's nowhere to be seen underneath of the B site. He's all the way inside of Inspections Lounge, I believe.
This is unfortunate here for Millenium. They've forfeited full control. They might just be looking for a collapse, but now as Steezy gets downed, that's the smoke that's no longer going to be throwing out his canisters.
Yep, Falco did rotate over though, so he is in position to try to stop this plant. Now, it's going to be up to unKnights to push in with less or with more than about 10 seconds. They need time that if that C4 goes out, they can recover from it. If they wait to the final 5, the final 3 seconds, they will see this go into the hands of Millenium. 30 seconds left to go. Keoxy's going to push on in, try to start this engagement. Hicks takes out Falco. That's going to be the pulse that would have been the saving grace here. The Yogurts will smack down Void as Spoken. Gets removed by Renshiro. Yogurt's also picking up a kill, a 3-on-2. Looks like Jacques takes a bullet from his teammate. He's going to go for the plant as we have Keoxy trying to move out. Tav comes on back with that SMG-11 kill. Wonderful job. 2-on-1 now with Spoken, or Jacques being the last man alive. He tags in. He gets the diffuser planted, but unfortunately a double kill here from Renshiro will secure the round. Millenium finally going up, taking their first lead of this final map.
What a collapse there from Millenium. And now they're looking as strong as we saw them on Consulate earlier in this matchup. Will they be able to maintain this lead and push it forward, though, as they are going to be now on match point, attacking onto unKnights' defense of what I believe is going to be the Armory.
It will likely be the Armory here. Now, fortunately, if unKnights wins this, they will go to overtime. Oh, it's going to be the ventilation room again. They're going to go for that hold, which I think is where they started out, and they were victorious on that hold.
Yeah, unKnights going to go down to ventilation, like you said, and that might throw a little bit of a wrench in the plans of Millenium, as it seems like, oh no. Okay, I see what they're doing here. This looks like it's going to be office control, archives control. Once we have that, vertical holes opened up, push in through tellers, push in through bathroom, open up that main A wall using our Hibana, throw down some smokes, and utilize the glass to try and take out the players who are inside of A. Because they have so much cover, the smoke's going to allow them to challenge that freely. That could be what they're doing, could not be. We'll see exactly how Millenium choose to challenge it. It could also equally be, hey, let's open up the front door, smoke off B, and get the defuse plant right immediately without challenging anyone. We've seen that happen a couple times before, and it is kind of hilarious whenever it works, but it's great as well for the attackers. Millenium now, match point again. unKnights really need to step it up here to deny this series going again in Millenium's hands. The importance of this series, as we talked about before, is that the winner will go into the playoffs to potentially put themselves at LAN in Gamescom Cologne, Germany. The loser will have to move on from this Pro League season and try to get back into the next season of Pro League later down the line.
Now, we do see unKnights setting themselves up with some good operator choices here for this site, going with the Echo and Smoke. We talked about how, in tandem, they can nearly stop a plant going down for about a minute, minute and a half, if not more. So as long as they can keep both of these operators alive and in safe positions until the end of the round, we will see this round go in the hands of unKnight. Hicks is going to be spotted out by this drone from Yogurts. That's an early, very early gas grenade to be using outside of the middle or the front entrance point. Not quite sure what that was supposed to prevent other than...
Yeah, kind of just wasted a little bit of utility there. I think he may have gotten spooked.
But he wasn't in a position to, like,
I know.
he could rotate out from.
Yeah, that's weird.
We will have the west wall top floor get opened up. That's going to force them away from half wall as they move on over to the middle of lockers.
It might just be the mentality here. I mean, they are the ones who are on match point against, so they really have to win this round. So they're going, okay, we gotta get aggressive. We gotta get these kills, and they're panicking a little bit. It might actually come into their play, which is going to be unfortunate if that ends up affecting unKnights' play.
Hicks has rotated back onto the site now. We're going to see Yogurt trying to cover the rotation around from the defenders.
That's the beauty.
Attackers dropped into the user. Attackers recovered the bomb.
Now with Chaos in the middle lockers, he's going to be flashbanged here, allowing Renshiro to potentially move in. No, Chaos is going to run blinded through the site and move on a little bit further away into a little safer position. Now, is he going to try to challenge this on Renshiro? It looked like he was going to, but backed on out of there. Unfortunately, though, for Falco, it looks like he might have gotten a DC in one of the most crucial rounds that he needs. Hicks will pick up that kill to Yogurts.
No.
That's going to be a 5-3. This is now leading into a victory here of unKnights. Liven also being taken out of commission as Kaoxi then gets traded back by Renshiro. You've got Stizzy and Renshiro, last two alive here for the attackers. And Renshiro trying to move in. He's got control of that top floor now.
Reloaded.
What would be a 3-on-4 is a 2-on-4. Millenium have to secure 2 kills apiece in order to win this round. Spoken gonna get taken out from behind. Nice kill there by Steezy, but he will be traded back quickly by Boy.
It's gonna be all up to Renshiro. He goes for the shots there onto Jacques. Jacques had the heartbeat sensor and he couldn't put it away fast enough, so Renshiro's gonna deagle him. Now instead of reloading, he's gonna go to challenge Voy here.
Very
and
dangerous.
With 10 seconds left to go, he doesn't have the time. The Bearing 9 will land the shot down onto him. We're gonna go to overtime in this final third map of this series.
What an unfortunate disconnect there, but it might not have mattered. We did see some fantastic play from unKnights to secure that round. Smoke securing 2 kills outside the front door, nice and easy with that SMG-11. Then the upstairs challenge really wasn't, well, it had teeth. Renshiro did take control of that top floor, but he didn't. As he had control of the top floor, he couldn't make any use of it because he didn't have that sledge coming from Falco, unfortunately. I believe Falco was on sledge. Whatever the case be, no destruction despite, or regardless of who it was or what operator they had. And because of that, the top floor control was meaningless. Now 4-4 overtime is going to come out here on the third and final map again of this series. First to 2 rounds will win, well, first to win 2 rounds will take overtime and push themselves into those playoffs. Going to be having a armory defense here to start things off. It's going to be unKnights on defense, Millenium on attack.
Now they are changing up their defensive hold. Instead of trying to hold on to CCTV as utility heavy as they have previously, they are going to opt to kind of condense themselves a little bit more. You saw the mirror window inside of the office facing that west balcony where Kaoxi is right now. The second mirror window is going to go again inside of the archives facing the fountain and facing that front entrance door.
5 seconds to go.
Now this leads me to believe that they are going to, just like I said, stay hunkered down a little bit, and potentially we'll see less roamers. Again, it looks like Jacques is going to be the only one off-site.
Pressure's mounting for both of these teams, so roaming is a scary concept. Hicks is going to get, I don't think that was lit up by Liven because he's all the way in the B-bomb site, but he did get lit up by somebody. And Millenium now have a slight HP advantage, although it's not really anything to write home about. Taking control of these east stairs to deny the flank as they poise themselves to push on into the offices. They're going to have to contend with Hick on that bandit, active banditing seemingly that main wall to the balcony. It's a good thing that Millenium has Liven on this Thatcher to get rid of those batteries. Although, will we see the rotation on this take, or will Millenium force their way into offices even more?
did successfully stop one of the mirror charges, or not mirror charges, the Habana charges, but I don't think he got the second one. We just heard it explode right there, which is going to force Hicks to rotate out from that triple window, or triple wall, potentially over to the single wall, or even further back onto site.
Falco's going to get the first kill of the round onto Hicks all the way from the spawn. This angle has been seeing great use from Millenium in this matchup. It's going to be a good start. That angle is almost exclusively useful with glass, too. The thing about it is that you can barely see from that distance unless you have that glass scope.
Yep, that thermal scope lighting up of the yellow is definitely something that is preferential to holding that angle from that distance.
Attackers dropped the diffuser.
Now
Jock.
we have a minute 15 to go. So 5 on 4, and Falco's still going to be out long and far from the site. Renchier's going to be up on that window, the north window to the B site. He's going to try to open up and get rid of some of the ADSs here. That's going to blind out Voy, who has his smoke grenades in hand, ready to toss them over the shelving unit. Spoken, however, is going to be inside of the middle dorms as Chaoxy's inside of lockers. Jock's still underneath. That's the 4 players left alive here for unKnights. Looks as though Spoken gets taken out there by Renchiro. Now he will likely not get picked up unless the drop hatch is open, which allow Jock to move forward. Voy did fall. He can toss those gas grenades up from underneath, but again, it's going to be a little tricky. Yeah, it's going to be up to Millenium to see, can they push onto this? Yogurt's going to be the one to challenge here. Could he get a wall bang?
Oh,
saw him,
Yogurt.
went for the double take, and Jacques going to move away. Jacques picked up that kill and alive, and that's also Diffuser that is not down. Steezy, however, will down it. Looks like it gets planted. Yogurt's picking up 1 kill. Renchiro picking up another. You've got Voy underneath. Chaoxy going to tag 1 down. However, it's a 2-on-2 now with Renchiro getting a team kill onto his own Stizzy. Now a 2-on-2. Looks like Voy's going to challenge this onto Yogurt's. Renchiro and Chaoxy going to have to duke it out for the final kill. We'll have to see this with about 30 seconds left to go. Renchiro's holding onto that window in a very tight fashion. He sees him, he downs him. Last man alive is going to be Chaoxy. 1 bullet will take him out, and we could have round 1 of overtime going to Millenium here momentarily. And there it is, Renchiro picking up the kill, and that will be a tremendous victory for Millenium.
Yeah, that first round of overtime is so very important. Securing it is the start to finishing out that overtime and getting this series. Now what happened there, Millenium pressured well onto the roamers. They denied the C4 from below, just long enough to get that defuse plant, or maybe it might have been used either way. Because that C4 didn't come out, we didn't see unKnights have anyone else in a direct position to stop the defuse plant coming out in the B bomb site. When you have that Blackbeard on north balcony, also very hard to get rid of him. So as soon as the retake didn't happen before the diffuser went down, then the pressure mounted even more for unKnights to get that push back into the site, and because of that Blackbeard, they were unable to do that. Now, moving on, it will be likely a top floor defense here from Millenium. Yep, there it is. This is going to be their attempt to finish it out. Look at Renchiro. 16 kills, following up by Yogurts with 9. I mean, usually it's not worth talking about how somebody's he's got a slight lead over his teammates. So Yogurt's got 9 kills, that's pretty nifty. But 16 kills in a professional match is very difficult to achieve. So well played there to Renchiro, really forcing it out for his team, wanting to get this map on the board and push themselves into the playoffs.
10 seconds left.
It seems like Millenium is winning a lot of these rounds through sheer force of will as well. Sure strategy, of course, but it just is so very just forceful. Just, hey, we're going to take these fights, we're going to win them. By darn.
And I mean, with that, what we talked about previously during on Oregon, Millenium was just winning each and every gunfight. And that seems to be the case here. Not each and every gunfight, but when rounds come down to just pure gunfights, it looks like the Millenium is more in favor to win those.
Yeah, they do definitely seem to come out in the majority of these fights. Strategically, though, unKnights is showing us a lot of really cool things, as we talked about earlier. And that's what they needed in order to win any of these rounds. And pushing Millenium onto 4-5, that is very impressive play there. Now the question then is, who's going to be able to finish this overtime? Will Millenium be able to lock it out with this defense, or will unKnights secure this nice office attack, push themselves forward? You are seeing here Chaoxy's going onto that north balcony yet again. This pressure is so very important in this round.
Now, typically, that's a Blackbeard that we see on this windowsill, and
Right.
we're going to see the Sledge instead. No Blackbeard on the offensive lineup. So it's curious as to what is his purpose going to be here. Is it just to bring those frag grenades, try to take some people out from over the shelving unit?
Millenium, again, so very clustered into the A-bomb site, not really focusing on defending B. They do have Falco from below with that C4 to stop the initial defuse plant, but the retake is going to have to be something of a collapse. It did work out for Millenium last time. Will it work out for them this time is the question. Knights have control over the offices and the fountain, now applying this pressure onto Millenium. Steezy's going to be very much trapped inside those lockers. As he rotates out, Jock will have the line of sight that he needs to secure the kill. Spoken looking to vault in through the B window and get the defuse plant is going to be contended by Falco. He's got those holes in the floor. He can loop that C4 to the... Oh no, I think he just threw the C4 and it didn't secure any kills. A little bit of a jumping of the gun there from Falco might actually cost them this round.
Oh, he's going to snag one. That's going to be the thermite out there on the windowsill, that north windowsill of the B site.
Great recovery there from Falco.
So the C4 may not have gotten one, but it doesn't mean he doesn't have a backup plan. Wonderful job by Falco. 30 seconds left to go. A 4-on-4 now with Renshiro being taken out of commission. That's their top fragger they needed to get.
Double
a double
down
here inside of the middle corridor. A 4-4 now with Void, Jacques, and Hicks still left in the mix here.
Oh, it's all
What
down to
a
Hicks.
double kill here by Yogurts and Stizzy. Hicks needs to get the kill, but he doesn't. Yogurt's going to get the final headshot down onto Hicks, and we are going to see Millenium win this 6-4. They are now taking that playoff position coming out of Group B.